Hey guys, Captain J Withers here. Hey listen, I'm going to share with you a couple key things that I've been using in these cold winter months to get the fish to bite, so stay tuned. Alright, so we know that the water temp has dropped significantly in the last, say, month or so. I don't care where you're at in the country, the water has dropped in temperature. It is what it is. Now here in Florida, we don't get a whole lot of sympathy for water temps in the low 50s. But here's the deal. The fish, when the water temperature drops, the fish get a little finicky. They get a little lethargic where they don't want to really move a lot. So what I found is a couple baits that have worked out really well for me. Now I am specifically targeting redfish, snook, and trout in the back countries and super shallow water. But I wanted to share with you a couple of those things that have worked on a couple different ways. One, looking for tailing redfish and how we're able to catch those fish that may be not so aggressive. We've had some decent tides, but those tides days that where the water's not just ripping in, or even for that matter ripping out, they may not be feeding super hard. So what I found is something that's kind of in your face, that they can't resist it. It's one of those things that really has helped put some fish to the boat. So I'm going to start with that. And this is the old freshwater rubber worm from Zman. This is actually the Finesse Wormz right here. Now I like the watermelon red flake. It does really nice job, but the cool part about this, the most important part about this, is they float. And because they float, which the way I rig it is what makes that fish, I believe, want to eat. So let me show you. So what I've got here is, this is actually one of my own jig heads. This is an articulating jig head. But I replaced the hook with a mustad grip pin. Some of you not familiar with that? That stuff happens, I guess. But anyway, so this is a mustad grip pin. It's a 3/0. There's no weight on it. It's just the grip pin itself. But as you can see here, I'll have it rigged. I like to start off with having it rigged just in the nose by about, say, 1/8 of an inch. Okay, you see how I have it there? And what I do is I'll wind it up onto the shank of the hook. Once I get past that little grip pin part, then I'll rotate it around and then just measure it with my thumb here. And where I measure it with my thumb, I come down, just bend the bait a little bit, poke it right through, and then I skin hook it. I just put the tip of the hook in the skin of the bait. So some of you may be looking at this and say, well, there's a lot of bite surface that doesn't have any hook on it. Well, truth is, yes, you're right. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to basically create the look of a sand eel. So when you pitch this to a tailing redfish, or really even redfish and snook and trout, all of them will eat it, but in this case we're looking for tailing redfish. One of the things I found out is because this worm actually floats with the Elastec and Z-Man, is it allows the bait to literally stand up through the water column. And sometimes when they're tailing in some tall grass, turtle grass, eel grass, whatever it might be, a lot of times that bait is sticking straight up. And many times the retrieve or the action that we're giving on the bait is nothing more than just wiggling the tip of the rod, which is shaking this head. This head, as you see, is a free swinging head from the hook. So when you shake that, this tail is dancing around in the water column, and those redfish will feel that, and they'll come over and investigate to see what it is. So this right here, a dynamic bait to use, super easy to rig, catches everything. Yes, we're fishing for tailing redfish, but don't be surprised if that trout or snook eats that as well. But that right there, simple swing jig modified with a mustad grip pin hook and the Zman Finesse Wormz. So that right there is a great way to approach some tailing redfish, and I think you too will catch them.